Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is Marcus in the harbor at the edge of the world. Marcus woke before the sun did. The window above his sleeping mat was a pale gray square outside. The river Frankly was already awake. He could hear it, soft and steady, like water poured into a very tall jar. He dressed quickly, sandals, rough brown tunic, the belt his father had made from goat leather. His mother called from the kitchen. Marcus breakfast first in a moment, he said. He stood at the doorway and breathed in salt river mud. A little smoke from somewhere up the hill. This was how Tarraco smelled every morning. Marcus loved it. He was 10 years old and he had lived in this city his whole life. Tarraco stood on a high rocky hill above the Mediterranean Sea. The river Frankly wound around the foot of the hill and emptied into the harbor. More than 200 years before Marcus was born, the Scipio brothers had arrived here, 2 Roman commanders who crossed the sea to fight the Carthaginians. They built a strong harbor at the river's mouth. They built walls 10 meters tall. They named the place Tarraco, and it grew into the most important port in all of Hispania. Marcus ate quickly, flatbread dipped in thick yellow olive oil that smelled of warm summer fields. Then he ran to find his father at the dock. The harbor was noisy and bright. Sailors shouted to each other in 4 different languages. Ropes creaked against wooden posts, seabirds screamed overhead, and dove at scraps near the jetty. Marcus's father was already there, a stylus tucked behind his ear, a wax tablet in his hand. His job was to count the cargo coming off the ships and write everything down. He had a very serious face when he worked. "Good morning, late feet," he said without looking up. "I'm not late. The sun is still waking up. The ships don't wait for the sun." His father pointed at a wide, deep boat tied to the nearest post. That one came in at midnight, full of amphorae. What is inside them? Olive oil from Baetica. In the south of Hispania, Marcus walked to the edge of the dock and looked down. The water was dark green near the hull, and he could see the rounded belly of the ship under the surface. And that tall one? He pointed to a ship with a red stripe painted at the waterline. Grain, said his father, from across the sea, from the great fields in Africa. Marcus tried to imagine Africa. His teacher had shown him a map once. Africa was a very long way from this dock. How do sailors find the port in the dark? Marcus asked. "The stars," his father said, "and the lighthouse." Marcus looked up. At the far end of the harbor wall, a stone tower rose above the water. On clear nights, a fire burned at the very top. Sailors at sea could see it from far away. It told them, "Here's the port, here you are safe. Come in." A pelican landed near Marcus's foot. It looked at him with one bright yellow eye, decided he was not interesting, and flew away. "Father," Marcus said, "you once told me this harbor was not always here, correct?" His father crouched beside him and spoke in his explaining voice, slow and careful. Before the Romans built the seawalls, the Frankly flooded each spring. The river mouth was muddy and shallow. Big ships could not get close. So how did the first soldiers get their ships in? Smaller boats. In very great patience, they dug channels, drained the mud, laid stone year after year. Marcus looked at the long harbor wall stretching out into the blue sea. It was solid and gray and permanent looking. He could not imagine it not being there. When the morning count was finished, Marcus's father folded his tablets under his arm. "Come," he said, "let's walk up." They left the harbor and entered the city. Tarraco climbed the hill in terraces, each street a little higher than the one before. The stones underfoot were smooth from thousands of sandals over many years. They passed the fish market, where a man with a sunburned nose laid out silvery sea bass in neat rows. The fish smelled sharp and cold. They passed the bread cellar, where round loaves cooled on a wooden rack. Pale and warm, a brown dog lay in a patch of light near the baker's door, and watched them pass without moving. They walked through the lower forum, where 3 men in white togas were arguing about something Marcus could not follow. Then they came to the old wall. Marcus always felt it before he saw it, a kind of shadow, a coolness in the air. Then he looked up. Great stone blocks rose above him, each block as tall as his father. The very bottom stones were enormous, rough, natural rocks, set in place without mortar. "Just wait in time holding them together. The Scipio brothers ordered this wall," his father said. "Their workers cut this stone from this hill itself." Marcus put his hand flat against the surface. It was cool and slightly rough. He could feel the seams between the stones with his fingertips, like the lines on an old man's face. "Has it ever fallen?" Marcus asked. "Not yet," his father said, smiling. They passed through the great gate above them. 3 towers rose against the bright blue sky. They had stood here longer than anyone in the city could remember. Near the top of the hill, in a small square where a fig tree grew, they found old Gaius. He was always there, same low wall, same patch of afternoon sun. Every single day, he had a face full of deep lines, arms thick as rope, and bare feet with tough soles. His red tunic had once been a much brighter red Quintus, he said to Marcus's father. "And the boy come sit." Marcus sat beside him on the warm stone. The fig tree above rustled softly and smelled of sweetness and dry dust. "How old is the boy now?" "10," said Marcus's father. "10, good age for knowing things." Gaius looked at Marcus with calm brown eyes. "Do you know that the Emperor Augustus once lived here in this city?" Marcus went very still. "In Tarraco on this hill, long before you were born. He came and stayed 2 full years." A warm wind moved the fig leaves with a dry whisper. "He came because of the Cantabrians," Gaius continued. "They are a fierce people in the mountains far to the north. They would not join the Roman world, so Augustus brought 9 legions to change their minds." 9 legions, Marcus said. "Each legion, 5,000 soldiers, 9 times 5,000. A great, great many." Marcus tried to picture 5,000 soldiers marching together. He could not. "And from here, Augustus ran the whole empire," said Gaius. "Letters went out every day from this hill to Rome, to Egypt, to Gaul, to the far eastern lands." Gaius leaned forward a little. For the very first time in all of history, a Roman emperor ruled from somewhere that was not Rome. That place was here, Tarraco. A seagull cried once. Far overhead, Marcus sat very still. Letters to Egypt. He had never been to Egypt. He had never been anywhere except this city. But from this ordinary hill, with its ordinary stones and its quiet river, the whole world had once been led from right here. "Were you there when Augustus came?" Marcus asked. "Too young then. I served 23 years in the legions later and saw many places far away." Gaius was quiet for a moment. "But I always came back. Why?" "Because Tarraco knows how to be a city," he said. "It has been one for a very long time." They walked to the very edge of the hill and Marcus stopped. He always stopped here. The amphitheater curved open in front of him. A great oval of honey-colored stone seats, carved right into the hillside. The rows climbed upward in a wide arc. At the far edge, below the lowest seat, was the Mediterranean Sea. Today it was blue and bright and restless. Small white waves came in steady lines toward the base of the cliffs. A warm wind rose up from the water, carrying something sweet, wild thyme from the rocky slopes. The air tasted like salt. Marcus and his father climbed to